it's been very cool just to come here and like immediately see the difference between college and pro. And so I feel like the difference that I thought it was going to be was like, it's a college town. Everyone is so about it. But even here, like we have a great community around us and we have coaches that support us. And I just think that's really cool to see like back to back.
This is the Leave It Better podcast, powered by the Side Out Foundation. Here's your host, Hall of Fame coach, Janice Kruger.
Welcome to the Leave It Better podcast. Today, I have a couple special guests from the Grand Rapid Rise PVF volleyball team, Camryn Turner and Paige Briggs-Romine are here to talk with us today about their participation in a really cool campaign that is in, I think, its second year for Grand Rapid Rise called Players with Purpose.
Well, we were kind of approached by our administration here at Grand Rapids just to kind of pick a cause and support somebody. And back them with our play, with who we are. And they wanted it to hit home with individually who we are. So we all got to pick one, and this is where we picked. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There was potential like lists of things that we could pick. And I feel like this one just kind of stood out to me and is something that I was part of because it did kind of align with some things in my life. And so I just really wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. I actually joined the Side Out Foundation in 2008, and I had been a collegiate coach prior to that and actually coached against Kathy back in her early days. She was a youngster back then. You know, the foundation has been in existence since 2008, and we are so proud and happy that you guys have chosen to be a part of it. Have either one of you had any personal connection with breast cancer?
I have had a couple people just growing up that have been very close. Like I played sports with them, and then their moms had breast cancer. And this last year, this fall, one of the people that I've grown up with very closely, she's like a second mom, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so that's kind of why it stood out to me so really, because I did just kind of not go through it, but been a part of someone else's journey.
My story is a little bit similar. I have friends with parents going through breast cancer, and just I've watched them go through it and had to support some of their struggles and their worries. And I wanted to be there for them, and I wanted to support them even further into my pro career when I'm not on the same team with them.
We're all have experiences, I guess, in some way. I just recently had an alumni from the University of Nebraska, and I played softball there one year. And I recently had one of my friends let me know that they actually had breast cancer like 27 years ago, and it's been out of the picture and just recently metastasized. And it brought what we do here at the Side Out Foundation with regards to research in the metastatic breast cancer field to true light. And I had those emotions and those feelings of how that is when it's that close. It's a different kind of thing. I've always been there thinking I'm doing this for all the women and men that I know. And it just seemed like a good thing to do on top of coaching volleyball for 40 years. So how about you guys? You're in the PVF. Now, Paige, you're going into your second year, and this is your second team. You were part of that Omaha Supernovas, winning that $1 million championship back last year.
Yeah.
And Camryn, you're a first year out. Can you guys talk to me just a little bit about what it's like to be playing in the league?
This league's amazing. This is like a dream come true to play in the United States. I didn't necessarily want to go overseas to play professional volleyball. And so it's been a blessing, just a complete blessing. And this league is really taking care of their players and their coaches. And it's fun every single day, I have to say. And so difference between year one and year two is there's a little more things figured out. When you start a league, there's some ups and downs. There's some troubleshooting.
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple of just a little bit of changes where there's things that were unknown last season that got cleared up. And so there's not much different. We're still playing volleyball. Omaha was great. Grand Rapids is great. Obviously, I'm from Michigan, so I wanted to play close to home.
Sure, right. I looked your town up. We have very similar hometowns in terms of size.
Yes, very little.
Yeah, so very little, very little. Camryn, how about you? First year, coming out of college.
I think that playing pro volleyball wasn't in the question for me because I didn't want to go overseas. And then Reagan Cooper, my teammate, she's now on the Omaha Supernovas. She didn't really want to play volleyball, and then she got drafted and she loved it. So I was like, okay, if opportunity comes about, I really want to do this. It just seems like why would you not? You get to play volleyball as your job in the United States. And so I think we got drafted, so I should still be at KU. And so it's been very cool just to come here and immediately see the difference between college and pro. And so I feel like the difference that I thought it was going to be was it's a college town. Everyone is so about it. But even here, we have a great community around us and we have coaches that support us. And I just think that's really cool to see back to back.
Yeah. What do you mean you could still be at the University of Kansas? What do you mean by that?
We got drafted in November, and so that was still during the season. The tournament ends around the 18th of December. And so I still have I'm still taking classes at KU because this was kind of unknown, if I was going to be able to or not play. And so I'm still taking classes at KU. And so I still have my leave in Lawrence. And so I just moved here. So yeah, I technically am still in college.
Yeah. Well, how fun. Okay, you guys. So both of you played at, really great programs. Western Kentucky, very solid, very excellent training. And your coach, and I've just spaced his name right now. Can you help me with that? Let's see.
Travis Hudson.
Yeah. Travis Hudson. Yes. Travis Hudson. And Camryn, you played for Ray Richard, who I guess now has moved on. You got a whole new thing going on there in Kansas. Coming into the league and hooking up and playing with all these great players that you've probably either competed against or definitely watched.
Mm-hmm.
What's that transition like? What kind of emotions do you feel?
Oh boy. I remember it was really surreal. All these people that I was I watched you on TV and I've wanted to be like you and I've watched film on you so I can become like you. And then here I am in a practice with them and I'm staring at them in awe. I really was. I was just in shock my first season. And even this season, I'm I know you from TV. And so, it's really, really cool. And especially coming from Western Kentucky, who's a mid-major. It's not necessarily the biggest name and not a lot of people knew who I was. And so it was I got to just be this little fly on the wall on how to learn volleyball from them and how they play their system and what they think. And I got to experience a different way of volleyball, but just be in awe of these great players that I was surrounded by and get to learn from every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I am just a fangirl. And so being able to come here, see all these amazing people like Morgan Hentz that played at Stanford. She's amazing. There's just so many other setters like Sydney Hilly that are just, I'm no way. I want to be like you and I'm playing against you. And so it's just very weird that I can't wrap my mind around it. But like Paige said, I think everyone on our team, they're so highly skilled and talented. And so being able to learn from them is very cool. And it's very different because we're all in different stages of our lives. And so I feel like it's very cool to learn from the people on your team. Yeah.
So the difference in college, you're studying, pretty focused on two things for the most part. And now you have your families, maybe a little closer. I think you just got married here not too long ago, Paige. How is this whole experience different?
It's kind of weird for me because I am still taking classes and I am still doing some of the college things, but being away, I think this is the first time, because I'm from Topeka, Kansas. So this is the first time I've been away from my family and being around all those people that have been in my life, my entire life supporting me. So I think it's very different, but it is very similar because we are just playing volleyball. So I feel like it's not too different, but it is very cool to just focus on volleyball, even though I still have some other side distractions. It is very cool that we get to play volleyball as our job.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was strange when I got done with, I didn't have any school when I went my first pro season. Like I graduated and I was done. And I just remember like playing volleyball and going to my practice and then not having anything to do for the rest of the day. And that was so different because I was used to like, I got to get all these homework stuff done. And I was like, what do I do with all my time? And so that was a big like curveball to me that I was like, I'm just going to watch movies all day. And that wasn't healthy. That wasn't healthy at all. And so I had to find balance in that and find my hobbies again, where my big hobby was just volleyball and getting schoolwork done and trying to succeed in that and graduate. So, but yes, I did get married this summer. So that's been helpful to balance balance volleyball and the frustrations that come with that. But just remind you that volleyball's not everything. And so my husband Connor has been great at that. And he's balanced me out.
That's always good to have, I'll tell you.
Yes.
So both of you, this is, how did the sport of volleyball become such a big part of your life? Do you remember, kind of where that all started for you? Was there a person? Was there a place, a time that really brought it all together and made, I love this sport?
I think I can't remember a time where I didn't have volleyball in my life, honestly. I started playing club volleyball when I was 8 years old. So it's just always been in my life. And I also played basketball. My dad played basketball in college and my mom played volleyball and basketball. So just sports have always been in my life. And so I think it got to be my junior, sophomore year of high school. And I was like, okay, I needed to pick one. I needed to pick a sport. And I just feel like volleyball, it just brought a different aspect where it's like you get to be with your team and you connect with them every single point, where basketball, you're kind of just running around out of breath the whole time. And so I think volleyball, you just get to be with your people. You get to figure out things. You get to find different ways and strategize how to go against the other team. So I just feel like it's more team oriented and you get to communicate and work through little problems more. And so I feel like that's when I was like, okay, I love volleyball and this is what I want to do. So
your position is setter. Is that correct? Are you? Yeah. So, that's like a pretty big position.
Yeah.
To have. Talk about that just a little bit. How'd you get there?
So when I started out, when I was 8, I was playing 2 years up. And so all the girls were just so much bigger than me. So I was a libero at first. I did that for 5 years. And then when I got to middle school, I was a setter and a hitter. And then when I got to college, I just focused on setting for the first time ever. And so I feel like when I was making the decisions between basketball and volleyball, I was the point guard and my coach would always get mad at me because I didn't want to score. I wanted to set my teammates up for other things. And so volleyball, that's my job. And so I feel like that was just a good mix. And I feel like setting is very mentally taxing and there's so many things you have to think about every single second of every single play. And so I feel like being able to solve those problems and get Paige a one-on-one and she hits it on the 10-foot line just brings me more joy than being a hitter or passing ball. It's just something that I really like to do. And it's very challenging, but it's very worth it in the end when you succeed. And so I feel like that's kind of why I like being
Yeah. I like the analogy between basketball and volleyball. Paige, how about you?
I I was a soccer player pretty much all my life.
Ah.
I found volleyball probably in 8th grade when I started playing like competitively. My mom had always played volleyball, just like pickup. And so she would pass in the backyard with me. That's the extent of it when I played soccer until about 8th grade. But I remember the turning point was watching the Olympics, watching Misty May Trainer and Carrie Walsh.
Mm.
And I remember looking at my mom and going, I'm going to be her one day. Like, I'm going to be Misty May. Like, I'm going to be that short outside that can hit the crap out of the ball and I'm going to defend everything. And I remember that was like my turning point when I really, really liked volleyball. And then 8th grade, I got on a club volleyball team. Really enjoyed it. I played about every position at one point. I started off as a setter and then I slowly became a hitter, and then I became a DS, and then I became a libero at the end of the season. And I was like, what? I started off as a setter. What happened? So I loved it though. I just loved every aspect of volleyball. And then I remember it came to deciding whether I wanted to be on varsity or I wanted to play club soccer. And that was my big switch. I was like, I love volleyball. I love learning. I love that I get to do everything and not just, in soccer, I was a wing. So I just was running all the time. And so I was like, I'm a little tired of that. So I started soccer like full fledged during 8th grade, but really my freshman year was when I switched completely over to volleyball. My strengths are I'm quick and I can jump pretty high. And so that best suited volleyball over soccer. You don't really need to jump in soccer. You kind of do, but not all the time. So it was more like this might really work out for you. This might be your calling. This might be your like gift, your God-given gift. So she kind of pushed me along there, and I really did love it. Like I went to practice early, like an hour early, just to get extra reps, and I would stay late. And I was just a gym junkie. So yeah,
a sponge. There you go.
Yes.
How about you, Camryn?
I feel like my parents were very influential, but in a way that they just wanted me to have fun, because deciding between basketball and volleyball was very hard for me because I feel like it could have gone either way between the two sports. And so they just like, we don't really care what you do. You're not going to let anyone down if you choose one over the other. Just, we want you to have fun. And it doesn't matter where your journey takes you, as long as you're having a good time. Like, that's fine with us. And I feel like my mom was a high school volleyball coach at the high school that I went to before I got there. And so I was just always around all of those girls, and they were always so nice to me, and they were always like hyping me up, and they were just, I don't know, it was just a good environment. And so I feel like maybe thinking about it, that could have been a little influential as well.
Oh, well, that's cool. So, you know, let's change just a little bit. So are there any memories during your volleyball journey where you or your team had to overcome something significant, a significant challenge for you or for your team that changed you or your team?
One of I think it was my super senior year, our setter got hurt during a tournament. And she was, obviously our setter's a big crucial point. And so she dislocated her shoulder, and we were like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And our backup setter hasn't set in a game ever. She played DS because she was a really, really good server. And so we had to overcome that and how uncertain that was all. And then I just remember like our team being like, even if she can play or she can't play, we rallied together and we're like, we're going to win no matter what. And so I just remember like we never gave up. We never lost hope. Our energy always stayed high. We always were thinking, we're going to do this. Like, we never had doubt. And so she ended up getting better. We got her a whole brace to keep her shoulder in place. It was crazy. And we didn't let her go to the ground. We said, just let the ball fall. It's okay. We'll live with the point. We ended up winning that tournament, and just because we had no doubt in the backup or whether she was going to play or whether we were going to win. We just always had faith.
Faith. There you go. Faith and connection. Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think mine's kind of similar to Paige's, and I'm pretty, it was this last year. And Toya Sienna Banjo, she's one of my best friends. She was our middle. She plays at the Omaha Supernovas, and she's such a good middle. And she went down. She hurt her ankle,
Mm.
and we were playing K-State, our rival. And so then we had already one other freshman middle playing, and then with her, and then we had another freshman middle, and she came in. And so being a freshman, you're just like kind of like ping pong balls, like you're kind of all nervous. But I feel like our team, we were really close off the court, and we just kind of got each other, and that kind of translated. So when Toy got hurt, no one really freaked out because we're like, oh, Zoe's got it. Like, she's going to do amazing. We're going to do what we can to relieve pressure off of her. And so I feel like that helped her as well. And she did amazing. And we won the games that we needed to win because we were kind of on a roll at that time. And so it was just a weird time for it to happen. But I feel like we all kind of, like Paige said, stayed together and believed in one another and did what needed to be done.
Had you heard about the Side Out Foundation or Dig Pink?
I think in high school, we always had a Dig Pink game. And so we had a couple of parents that would come out, and we would either give them roses, and we all wear pink, obviously, and always do the ribbons in our hair. Even in college, we had a Dig Pink game too.
Yeah, in high school, we always had the Dig Pink games. And again, we decorated and it was all pink, and the parents would come down and all of that stuff. And then in college, we also had like a breast cancer awareness game. And so we all like wore little ribbons, and then we all, before the players, we had signs, and it's like who we play for. And so we did that. And then Ray Bouchard, his sister, got breast cancer, and so she did the first serve. But then she was scared about missing the serve, so then I had to do it for her. So that was nerve-wracking. But yeah, so
Is she okay?
Yes, she's good.
She's okay. Okay. Well, very good.
Yes.
There's a couple of really cool things, you guys, that are going on. And you participating in the campaign, Players with Purpose, and choosing the Side Out Foundation is really a special thing. And I know on your website, it brings people, if they want to look to see what it is that we're doing, they can find us there. And we do our research. We do our own clinical trials, our own research. We fund that, and we buy teams that do Dig Pink. They fundraise and help us pay for these trials to help women and men with metastatic disease. Do you guys know much about stages within breast cancer?
I know I don't.
No.
You know, this isn't uncommon at all. And probably one of the things that the volleyball community and with the Side Out Foundation is we're trying to help educate, but also fundraise and help women with metastatic disease, which is the end stage of breast cancer. That means basically that the breast cancer cells have figured out a way to get out of the breast tissue and travel around the body and go, hey, I'd like to put up stakes here. And when it does that, it becomes, we can't cure it at that particular time yet. And so we're working on that with all the support from volleyball and for events like what you guys are doing, Players with Purpose, and the ticket sales. I think you're contributing some part of what the community brings in and buys tickets for to help fund some of this research. But it's important research that we're doing. And what is so cool about it and what's exciting that you guys have chosen the Side Out Foundation is that 99.9% of this foundation is funded by volleyball, the sport of volleyball in some way. And therefore we own the outcomes. And I've been with this foundation now for a number of years, and it has been just a true pleasure to be here and work with a family, the Dunnett's family, that has their mom and Brian Dunnett's wife had breast cancer developed into metastatic And she passed from that, but she was the first person in our clinical trial. So the kinds of things that we're doing, we have participated in. And the whole purpose here with the Side Out Foundation with this is to try to give women and men that have metastatic disease more time with their families. Because if you think about anything, that's the one thing you want. You want to see maybe it's a wedding, or maybe it's a birthday, or maybe it's something special for them. We've been making a lot of progress with it, and now we are to the point where people get to benefit from what we do, and the analysis that we do is given to the oncologists and to the patient. That gives them their very best treatment solutions based off the data of their tumor. And so this is a really big deal. And I hope that the fact that you're doing this in Grand Rapids and kind of presenting this is for that community. This is for the community of all the players and where they're from, to know if at any point in time they have this happen to a friend, a loved one, or somebody there, they can share this information and we can help. The analysis we do doesn't cost them anything. And not everybody can afford or has great insurance. So it's something that can be very valuable to them. And so the Grand Rapids community, let me ask you, how are you pretty well supported there?
Yeah, we have a great following. I think every time I go to Meyer, I have someone ask me if I'm a Grand Rapids Rise player. It's kind of crazy. I've never really had that in college. I was like, no one knows who I am. And I was like, that's great. And now I'm like at Meyer and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. Hey. And so you kind of feel like a celebrity, even though that's a little too much. But yeah, we have a great community that we just had like this little women empowerment day where we had we did these questionnaire, and we had over, I think, 2,000 people. That's what they said, where we just talked to little girls, and we had a bunch of those little girls come to our game, and we just have this great support system and a great community that loves volleyball, but also just loves supporting this league and this professional women.
Yeah, in sport. What a great time. I mean, we're in the moment right now with women in athletics.
Yes.
So you guys were both coached by men in college. Now with Kathy, do you see a difference? Is there something that for you as a female athlete that just feels like different?
A little bit.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I feel like we have just a better connection. Like I could ask Kathy any question, and maybe she meets me more on like the emotional answer that I want from.
Could be.
Yeah. I probably didn't get that from my coach as much as he was just like, no, these are your stats, or this is this, which I appreciated in the time, but sometimes I didn't. But yeah, she meets you where you are. And I think that's different than a male coach, is she's feeling what you're feeling too. And not that men can't do that, but that she does it on more of a higher level that I think I've noticed in the difference between a female and male coach.
Yeah.
I would say I was kind of lucky with Coach B and Billy and Tate. We had one girl on staff, Caitlin Nielsen, which she was a good balance, because guys sometimes they just don't see what's going on, like they just know. But Coach B and all of them, they were very emotionally intelligent, and so like you're having a bad day, they knew that. But I feel like Caitlin as well, she just knew how to connect with you more, and so Kathy as well, like. If I'm having a bad day or something's going on, sometimes I don't even realize something's wrong with me. And she's like, are you okay? Like, you seemed a little off. And I was like, you're right. Like I am, so like Paige said, she just kind of like sees more, or sometimes guys can't, but in my case, guys did, but I know what you mean.
We'll be kind with cutting this so that you guys are okay.
Good.
Yeah. No, you guys didn't say anything. So I do have one question for Paige, and you can tell me if you want to talk about this at all. And I believe you were in college, and when Alyssa Kavanaugh was a player there.
Yes.
And, she really struck. I mean, that whole situation really struck a chord with everybody. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that time?
I only met Alyssa once. I actually we didn't overlap in college. She was, I think, 2 years before me. Yes,
okay.
Because there was this weird transition. She was fearless. I just remember hearing all the stories and how she was a feisty human being, but she was just a fearless human being. And everything she did to the fullest she could possibly do. She just went out and played with her heart. And I remember being a little freshman trying to live up to what she did. And I found it to be very daunting. But I slowly learned that's who I want to be. She was like such a role model. She just lived life without worry of what the outcome will be, and let's just move forward and go for it. I know it really, I only met her once, but I know it really had an impact on our program, and we still have Alyssa Kavanaugh night. Our conference named the player of the year after her. It's the Alyssa Kavanaugh Award now. She just was amazing. And I wish I knew her better. I wish she just mentored me through my college, because it would have just been amazing. But she was such a fighter.
Yeah. Hey, I think you won that award as player of the year in 2023. You did. Yeah. And she lost her battle to cancer. She was quite a fighter there. That's for sure. But I just remember that time and with the team there that it was pretty significant. And I think probably what fits you is that you have a lot of those characteristics to get that award that she possessed. So great job on that. So you guys, you're getting ready here to go to practice shortly. Will you just do a little bit of your just to give people out there an idea of what it's like? You mentioned earlier you have a weightlifting session. Is this every practice time you do something prior to, and then you go into practice? Give me some of the things that transpire to talk about what that looks like for folks.
So we wake up, whatever. We have usually our gym time's from like 12 to 4. And so we usually get to wake up a little bit later, at least I do. And so people are always coming in between like 10-ish and 11 going to the trainers. And so I usually show up at 12, and we have workouts at 12:30. Usually goes to like 1:15. You would say, yeah. And then we have practice. It kind of depends on if we have a game or if we don't have a game for a while. Usually until like 3:15, 3:30. Yeah. And then after that, people go back to the our trainer and get all fixed up in the cold tubs, whatever. Or we usually have film, depending again on what day of the week it is. But then that's kind of it. Like Paige said, we get to have our little time period, and then we get to go home and do whatever. But yeah.
Do you guys have to do anything outside of that time, like in watching video or doing any kind of analysis? I mean, you play some of these guys quite a few times, so you're really getting to know them. I mean, what's that like? It's like, I know she hits the cut shot. I know they like to tip here. How is that? It's real different than college. I mean, you did play people couple of times at most, but this is very different, and players are pretty developed at this point, so not a lot of new things happening maybe. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it makes it a little bit like a chess match. Like, we're going to move here so that you do this, so that next time you'll do this. We definitely watch a lot of film as a team, but then we'll watch like our own practice film. Even I do it individually after practice. I'm like, let's see what that looked like. Where was I standing? What did I do? What can I be better at? And then our coaches watch that. They watch our practice. They watch our games a lot. I think they watch I think 2 hours of film every day. I think they're watching film all the time. It's definitely weird. We play each team 4 times, so 28 games. Yeah, it definitely, it's the chess match in my head that I know they do this, but I want to make them do this so that I can do this. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
I love the strategy, though. I mean, isn't that the best part? I just always love the strategy of the game and trying to create something that could work. Well, for people that want to come out to see your game, can either one of you tell them, with Players with Purpose, what they should look for, where they get their tickets, or any kind of information?
I think all of our information's on the Grand Rapids Rise website, or our Instagrams, or any of our social media. There should be some links.
Check it out there. Yes. Perfect. Well, thank you guys for being on today. Please give Kathy a hug from me, and good luck. I think it's this Friday you play.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'd love to see you guys playing for the big dough. You
That's
too.
the plan. Let's get back
That's
there.
the plan. All right. You guys take care.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please share your feedback with us at side-out.org.